Hello, I'm Andrea Monk and welcome to your third piano lesson. In today's lesson, you are going to be taking your first steps into reading music. This is my favourite part. Grab a pen and paper before you start, because I'm going to get you to do an exercise straight away. So if you're ready, let's get started. In lesson 1, we covered the names of the notes on the piano. Can you remember which one is C? C is to the left of the two black keys. In lesson 2, we covered the exercise Rise and Fall. The notes I'm playing are C, D, E, F, G, and then F, E, D, and C. What I'd like you to do is use your imagination and write down this pattern in any way that you can think of. Pause the video and see what you come up with. How did you get on? How creative were you? This is one way you could have written them down. The letters C, D, E, F, G, and then back down to C again. You could have gone for the finger numbers, 1 to 5 and back through to 1. You could have written the notes, C to G, rising and falling as the pattern does on the piano, or the same with the finger numbers, rising and falling. You could have used colours or pictures of the piano. There's an infinite number of ways that you can show music. About 1,000 years ago, a very clever Italian monk called Guido of Arezzo came up with a fantastic system to notate music onto a stave, and I'm going to show you how it works. This is what we write our music on. This is a stave or a staff. It consists of 5 parallel lines. Notice the comparison with your hand. The time line travels along the bottom, and the pitch or height of the note is represented up the side, just like a graph. Any of the white keys on the piano can be written on the notes on the stave. I'm going to take the note E and play it 3 times. I'm going to write this pattern down on the stave. Now I'm going to make the notes rise from E. So I take my same starting point and make the notes rise. This is called a line note because it's written through the line. This is called a space note because it's written in the space. And following that is another line note. As the music rises from left to right, we go line, space, line. Just like when you're counting 1, 2, 3, you get odd, even, odd. This is the way it's represented in music when we write it out. What we can see here in the music is that these 3 notes are the same, and these 3 notes rise. If I take this on the piano and play E, 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 it's the same note because it's written on the same line. We start on the same point, E, rising up to G. What this means is that the notes are adjacent or next door on the piano. If you imagine this like a graph, the timeline travels along the bottom. Up the side is represented the pitch or the height of a note. The higher up you go, the higher up the piano. At the moment what you have is 3 notes the same, start on the same note and rise up, and these notes are adjacent on the piano. It could represent the notes E, 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 F, G, or it could represent the notes A, 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 B and C. All we know is that these are the same and that these are rising up adjacent. What we need now is a reference point, and that's where our clef comes in. If you think of the stave as a map, and we're going to do map reading when we read music, the first thing you need when you look at a map is a big sign saying you are here. And this is the job of the treble clef. The treble clef represents the high notes in music. Any instrument that has a high-pitched sound, like a violin or a flute, reads from the treble clef. This is the treble clef. It also has another very important name, and it's called the G clef. If you look at the treble clef, it actually looks a bit like a letter G. The job of the G clef is to fix the point of one note on the piano or any other instrument, and it's the note that is wrapped around by the treble clef, and it's this note here. So we now have a you are here sign. This is G. But which G? There are 7 of them to choose from on the piano. The G that's represented by the treble clef has a fixed point on the piano. It is the G 1/5 or 5 notes above middle C. Here is middle C, and here is the G represented by the G clef. I'm going to play the rise and fall pattern in the right hand, and we're going to write it out on the stave. So I'm going to place my thumb on middle C, rising up to G, and back down again. On the stave earlier, I wrote out 3 adjacent notes rising up. What I'm going to do is to continue this pattern up and down so that you can see the full rise and fall pattern. We have 3 notes, 4, 5, and then it comes back down the other side again. The notes rise up and down, and this represents the notes that are next door to each other on the piano. Here is our full rise and fall pattern. It's like an inverted V shape. We rise up for 5 notes and then back down again. I'm going to take this pattern and copy and paste it onto the stave with the treble clef. I'm going to play the pattern and stop on G. G is going to be the top of our inverted V shape. So one by one I'm going to fill in the notes coming down the V shape. So this is our fixed point G. The next note either side will be the F, and that sits in this space. And you'll be able to see the pattern developing. Next door to F is the E. This goes through the line. Next door to E is D. That's in a space. You can see the V shape forming here, the upside down V. Our final note is middle C. Middle C has now left the stave behind, so it needs an extra line called a ledger line. And to complete the pattern, there is our middle C at the other end. I hope you've had some insight today into how music is written down. If you'd like to watch all 6 videos, click on the link to our website, Real Piano Player. Enter your name and email address and you can watch all 6 videos and print out the accompanying exercise. I've also written a fantastic course for you. This is also available on our website. It teaches you how to read music and play the piano quickly and easily. Take care, and I'll see you soon.